Yeah, let me just quickly correct an impression. I know over 20 persons have DM'd me privately and say, Isaac, is it that you're not in love with the Westerners, the way you speak against them? No, let me put this back. I'm not a racist. In Africa, one thing about Africans is that Africans are not racist. That was why we in Africa, we accommodate the Europeans, the Americans for over 500 years. I've always maintained this. Even the Eiffel Tower in Paris, the resources, the material, everything they use in building Eiffel Tower was gotten from Africa. So Africans always keep Europe and America going. So I'm not a racist. I don't hate any race in the world. But let me state this very clear. Today, Europeans and Americans are actually lecturing Africans on human rights. But when you look at it very clear, in the entire human history, those who have clearly violated human rights are the Europeans. How did they kill Patrice Lumumba? Why do they kill him? Patrice Lumumba, for the fact that he believed in an economic model that is called African socialism, of which I believe and we are preaching today. He was murdered, gruesomely killed. How was he killed? Americans and Belgian authority conspired together and shattered his body with bullets. And not just that, his body was pieces and cut, dissolved into acid. And when Patrice Lumumba was killed, Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana cried. How do they kill Thomas Sankara, the only African son that turned a country like Burkina Faso, then Upper Volta, from hungry country, starvation country, in the space of 4 years, Burkina Faso became a food sufficient country, food security, and the best railway system. I'm proud to say this. The best railway system in West Africa was designed in Burkina Faso under Thomas Sankara. But the French authority conspired with Comparable and he was killed. When Comparable shattered his body with bullet. A noble African son, until tomorrow I call him an iconic African leader, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. How was he killed? The Americans, under their NATO, which is actually a confrontation organization, invoke Article 7 of the United Nations Charter, came into Libya and killed Colonel Muammar Gaddafi in his own country, openly with disgrace. But today, Russia is actually invading invading Ukraine. What stopped the United States from their confrontation organization, NATO, to invade or to penetrate Ukraine and stop Russia from invading Ukraine? They can't, but they're exercising muscle and strength, superpower in Africa. Do we want to talk about King Philip Leopold II of Belgium, that turned in the 1800s, that turned Congo, Democratic Republic, as his own property, that over 15 million Congolese were killed, murdered, openly killed? Do we want to talk about the transatlantic slave trade? The first ship that came from Europe to Africa to carry slaves was nicknamed Jesus. And these are the people who are preaching for us. What were they doing when they were carrying Africans from the coast of Dahomey down to America or to Europe? Pregnant women were thrown into the Atlantic Ocean because they were weak, given to sharks to eat. You can see the inhuman treatment. What did they do in 1947? When after Africans has fought and liberate Europe from the hands of the Nazi power, Africans fought with their blood. What they tag to them they call Second World War. In African socialism, we call it the European Tribal War. But after Africans fought and liberate Europe in 1945 from the hands of the Nazi power, in 1947, British authority and military men were killing and raping women. In Kenya, the Kikuyu people were openly murdered. And today we are still calling this imperialist, capitalist people colonial masters. What are they doing? Over 14 countries in Africa who still have ties with France are paying over $500 million annually to the French authority. That is why they are building Paris and they are expecting Africans to pay and come to Paris and watch good Eiffel Tower and whatever. But where do they get the resources and the material they use in building Eiffel Tower to build Paris? They are sucking from Africa. They are continuing to keep Africa impoverished. That's why they introduced the model, one approach they call the comparative advantage theory. So that